Kansas, Oklahoma area volcanoes and earthquakes. At the Midcontinental Rift, mantle plume heating detected, started 1.1 billion years ago. And I'd like to read the article for you from the abstract, the Geological Society of America. And I'll leave a link below for you. And then we're going to look at the quakes in the area because they're still ongoing. This is says detecting the extent of the circa 1.1 billion years ago Midcontinental Rift plume heating using UPB thermochronology of the lower crust by Cram Harper Edwards and Terrace Blackburn, Geology 2018. The occurrence of the mantle plumes, and by the way, they don't know where they're coming from what the geologists told us in the past articles on this. The occurrence of the mantle plumes in the geologic past is hypothesized to be marked by voluminous basaltic volcanism and topographic and gravitational anomalies. Also gravitational anomalies. Missing from these identifying characteristics is a direct measurement of the elevated mantle temperatures associated with an upwelling channel from the deep mantle. To assess the extent of plume heating in the $1.1 billion year ago Midcontinental Rift system in North America, we present UPB thermochronological evidence for the 1.1 billion year ago sublithospheric heat source near Attawapisca, Canada. We're talking about the Kaweenaw fault. That's about 600 kilometers from the inferred plume center. Apatite and rutite UPB cooling dates from middle to lower crustal xenoliths exhumed in the Jurassic Victor kimberlite. Remember what kimberlite volcanoes are? Kansas kimberlite diamond spitting volcanoes. They erupt very explosively and they spit out diamonds. I love that. I have to say that. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Yes, I had to say it. I didn't say it in the past video. I'm saying it now. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Okay. But the kimberlite volcano also spit out gems and semi-precious stones as well. So along with the diamonds, we get rubies, emeralds, sapphires. Sapphires, of course, are the next hardest after diamond. So, yes, the, where were we? With the plumes, yes, 600 kilometers from the inferred plume center. Apatite and rhyolite UPB cooling dates from middle lower crustal xenoliths exhumed in the kimberlite record a thermal history of about 2.5 billion years ago in duration. Shallow amphibolite and gabbro yield Archean and Paleoproterozoic dates with high UPB discordance consistent with middle crust cooling prior to 1.1 billion years ago. Deeper garnet-bearing samples, garnet are semi-precious stones, garnet-bearing samples yield younger dates with low UPB discordance. Replicating these data with models reveals a thermal history in which the extent of heating corresponds with sample depth and observation consistent with heating from below. Thermochronological data are best fit by model simulations in which the Attawapiscat lithosphere experienced the 1.1 billion year ago heating event triggered by partial lithosphere removal and mantle temperatures above 200 degrees Celsius, in excess of that of ambient mantle, consistent with about model of 100 million years ago plume head residence beneath the Attawapiscat region. That's the Kaweenaw Rift. Okay, that's the one that we have around the area of Lake Superior. And this is it. When you see that grayish thing up there around the Great Lakes, that's the Midcontinental Rift area. That area is, of course, where we have the mantle plume under there. And that thing in the middle, where it says second large crack, okay, that gray thing comes down towards the area of Kansas, Oklahoma, where we're having our quake. So you see it's basically parallel to the black line, but it's to the west. So the New Madrid is the black line going all the way to the St. Lawrence River Seaway around 1 o'clock on here. And in the middle here, where you have that parallel thing, the grayish ivory color thing, is the Midcontinental Rift area. Okay, so this is the article that I just read for you from the Geological Society of America. I'll leave a link below for you. And of course, it's the area of the Great Lakes, which has the Kaweenaw Rift and kimberlite volcanoes. Okay, so let's look at the quakes. This is the quakes that we talked about in our previous video. This is the area right here. And unfortunately, the quakes on Sizewell Berkeley are just this past week. But when we go back to Canada, they keep them, the Canadian map, as you can see, West Coast very active, East Coast very active as well. And this is the area where we have the 30 volcanoes. The seamount, the underwater volcanoes are 30, and they press into here, and we're having more quakes here as well. And some of these are quite big, 4.3 as you can see. Okay, so this is the area where we had the Lake Superior quakes, okay, 2 magnitude and 1.7, but you can see that they're unusual quakes, but they're not unusual when you take into account the fact that that's the Kaweenaw fault. That's the Midcontinental Rift right there. That omega-shaped thing that we saw. This is the New Madrid seismic zone, that black line that we saw going this way. And parallel to that, on the west of that, is the Kaweenaw Midcontinental Rift, which has a magma plume underneath, the mantle plume, and they don't know where that's coming from. Okay, well, we know we have volcanoes here, and we know we have 4 volcanoes in Maine, 4 volcanoes in a line of within 100 miles of each other, again going from northwest to southeast, basically in the direction of the underwater volcanoes, the east coast seamount. But this is where we have our daily quakes, our daily quakes. Okay, and they took some off. Okay, but we had them in Kansas as well. Okay, right around here. Okay, so let's go back to our things having to do with the, they even have minerals, copper and things, okay? Ore deposits and mantle plumes. You can see there's various volcanic rocks of the Midcontinental Rift system. That's another one here. That's a book. Okay. That's a book. That's pretty expensive. I guess it has a lot of diagrams and 166 euros. Oh my goodness. By chapter? Okay, my goodness. That's pretty big. It must be big. Going back, and we have the Kaweenaw hotspot. Okay, we have some very nice diagrams here. You can get, you know, a picture says 1,000 words. Okay. Let's go. That again is an abstract. Okay. It's basically the same thing. The Kaweenaw hotspot. It's a hotspot. Mid-continental rift system, North America, similar to the rifting continental margins and flood basalt province, like the younger analogs. The volcanism within this older rift can be explained by decompression, melting, and rapid extrusion of igneous material. This is all, of course, having to do with volcanic activity. During lithospheric extension, the plain extended because Superior was at one time with Wyoming. Superior and Wyoming were a lot closer, and the rift took place and they started expanding. Okay, that's from a previous article that we read. the extension above a broad asthenospheric thermal anomaly, which we call the Kaweenaw hotspot. Okay? The Great Lakes International Multidisciplinary Program on Crustal Evolution Seismic Reflection of models of melt thickness and stretching factors, which yield an infrared mantle potential temperature of a whopping 1,500 to 1,570 degrees Celsius during the rifting. Combined gravity modeling and subsidence calculations are consistent with stretching factors that reached 3 or 4 before rifting ceased, and much of the lower crust beneath the rift consists of relatively high-density intruded or underplated syn-rift igneous material. The isotopic signature of Kaweenaw volcanic rocks, presented in a companion paper by Nicholson and Sherry, consistent with our model of passive rifting above an asthenospheric mantle plume. So that's it. Let's go in more. There's our Kansas, and this area here is where at least 3 ancient volcanoes of kimberlite explosive diamond spitting volcanoes are here at this end. So if you want to take a nice nature walk and you're in Kansas, go around there and start digging for diamonds and semi-precious stones. Take a little book with you and see what they look like and know what they look like. Okay, and now, okay, this is it. This is the Lake Superior, and that's the Kaweenaw fault going this way, and that's where the mantle plume, the hot spot, is under there. And the magma is still there. The geologists don't know where it's coming from. But this is where we're getting our earthquakes here. Here. And there's another one here in Nebraska. When was that one? That was on the 12th, December 12th. Okay? So this here, along with the ones in Canada up here, that is all. It's a shame that they don't have everything on the same map, but okay, we'll have to go back and forth like this. What can we do? Okay, and they even take off the quakes. They don't have them here forever. So this is the Midcontinental rift. I don't believe everything is man-induced earthquakes. This has to be the Midcontinental rift. And of course, the thing with Yellowstone, this is, all these quakes are on this fault area right here, the Rocky Mountains. This is a fault, look at that, right there. Okay, and it's natural activity, for what they're saying. All this has been jolted from the Ridgecrest earthquakes as well, of course. So I'll leave links below for you for this. Oh yes, we wanted to go back a little bit more for the Kaweenaw. For those of you who don't know, let's go a little bit, find a little bit more. No, not mantle plume. We want the Kaweenaw. Okay, let's go for some pictures. Okay. That's what it looks like when we've had the spreading. The mantle plume comes up and splits up the crust up, and that's why it's thinner on the top. Okay, that's what it looks like. Mantle plume definition, that's what it looks like. The mantle plume, mantle plumes, volcanoes, mantle plumes. Okay. General pictures. General pictures. Okay, you get the idea. The mantle plume comes up and it splits and it stretches. Okay. Images for Kaweenaw, more images for Kaweenaw. We don't see Kaweenaw, but that's where it is. Oh, here we are. Okay. That's from National Park Service. And it shows us more of the mantle plume here. Geologic time, Laurentia, Amazonia, and that's it right there. As you can see, it stretches a lot more down. Midcontinental rift rocks, extent of mantle plume head, Greenville Mountains. For some reason it stops here. Okay. But this is it right here. That's that ivory color thing that we saw on the previous map that I was showing you, going all the way down here. And that's, of course, the mantle plume heads right there. Are all the way under Lake Superior, Lake Michigan on the front of it, all under Lake Superior and all the way going down. Okay? And some of the most recent lava flows. Wow. 1.1 billion years ago, just about. The last of the lava flows in the Kaweenaw were laid down about 1.1 billion years ago. Erosion and sedimentation will now dominate the landscape. So these are volcanic rocks, as you can see. On Lake Superior, erosion rampant in Earth's early history. So that's what it looks like. During this time, great mountains located where the Huron Mountains are today are being slowly stripped of their granite, and rains washed the grains away to be deposited in the valley below, and over time the sediments became cemented together by calcite. We now know this formation as the Jacobsville sandstone. Amazing. More rocks here. 10,000 years ago up to current age. The last page is nearly blank as well. Okay, 1% of the page is filled with roughly equates to, okay, some letters. Glacial grooves in the basalt. The glacier over the basalt has scratched it up. So, marine fossils. Okay, that's what it looks like today. It almost looks like shale, actually. So, that's what it looks like. And that's what we have here. Underneath a Lake Superior, the whole thing is a mantle plume going this way, all the way this way, this way. Okay? All the way this way. So, yeah, you don't have to have volcanoes only or earthquakes only where you have subduction zones or the west coast. You can see that this is pretty active as well. And this is the latest that we saw before. This is on the emergent seismic zone. I'll leave links below for you for this. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.